Hi there. Thanks so much for joining me this evening for our Monday night practice. Tonight's practice is going to be all about twisting. Twists are just great for loosening up the spine and also just getting your digestive system working well. Particularly good if you like golf. Could help you improve that swing for when we get out of this situation and you're back on the golf course. So throughout the practice, just remember, if anything doesn't feel right, stop. Listen to your body the whole way through. This is not about over pushing yourself. It's about having a nice stretch and a little bit of strengthening. If you want to rest anytime during this session, just come into a child's pose, which, for those of you that are unsure of it, is literally just sitting back on your heels, bringing your forehead to the ground and your hands behind you. Or if that's not comfortable, you can open your knees out wide, put one fist on top of the other and your forehead onto the fists. So come into that position at any time that you feel like it during the practice. For a change tonight, we're going to start standing up. So if you all stand up on your mats, keeping your feet hip distance apart, just beginning to engage the quads a little bit, but it's a soft stance. And let's just close the eyes and come into the moment, leaving aside everything that's going on in the world and in your life. Let's take this next hour to recharge our batteries, refresh ourselves. We're going to use this hour to connect the body with the mind through our breath. So let's just begin now to connect with our breath, breathing in through our nose, into our belly, and out through our nose. Listening to the sound of our breath, taking it nice and slowly. On our next inhale, let's just allow the arms to drift away from the body a little bit and to make their way back to our sides on an exhale. Allowing the breath to help the arms move away and come back, and move away and come back. And really feel that connection there between our breathing and our movement. And you can begin to make that movement with the arms a little bit bigger. Noticing how your breath takes a little break at the top of the inhale and at the base of the exhale. And after your next exhale, let's just relax. Come to stillness. And on our next inhale, let's turn our head to the left. And as we exhale, bring it back to the center. And inhale, turning it to the right. And exhale, back to the center, continuing with those gentle neck, head turns for just a couple more breaths. And really noticing the connection between the breath and the movement. And when next your head is in the center, let's come to stillness. And let's take an inhale here. And as we exhale, let's begin to just roll forward, allowing gravity to bring us down towards the ground. You can bend the knees if you need to. And once your hands reach the floor, let's just stop here. And taking each elbow with the opposite hand, hanging around down here for a little while, let's bring the breath into it and feel ourselves move a little bit away from our legs, outward and back. And allowing the arms to come down onto the floor again. Bend those knees generously as we make our way back up to standing. Fluttering open the eyes, let's just turn those hands so the palms are facing outward. Let's start to bring a little bit of engagement into our quads, into our core by lifting the pelvic floor up, bringing that belly button in and up. And with our hands facing outward, let's just bring them back a little bit. So our chest begins to open. And let's begin to breathe into our spine to try and find that extra space in our spine and become nice and long. Opening out our body, allowing our breath to fill it and move it. And coming back to stillness. I'm just going to turn sideways. You can still stay the way you are. I just want to show you what we're going to do here. So we'll just begin to warm up. So we're going to raise the left arm up and at the same time step the right leg back. And then we're going to swap that around. So right leg comes up and left leg goes back. And swap, and swap, and swap. And now let's let our head follow our back arm. Good. Let's do a few more of these, just beginning to warm up the body. And slowing it down. And coming to stillness. And from here, just allowing our arms to flop from side to side, our upper body to move as we begin to introduce a little bit of a twist. Such a lovely movement, this. Allowing the arms to hit off you. Alan doesn't like when I do that because it makes too much noise on the mic. And coming to stillness. Let's take it to the top of the mat and we're going to do a couple of sun salutes. So if you're familiar with your sun salutes, you can go at your own pace. If this is new to you, and then just follow along with me. We'll take it nice and easy. So raise the arms up, lifting the gaze, and forward fold. Bend those knees as much as you need to reach towards the ground. And halfway lift. So bringing your hands just above your knees, having a nice straight spine. And forward fold once again. Let's step that right leg back as far back as it can go and drop the right knee to the floor, opening out the foot. And raising up with the body and the arms and the gaze. Bringing your hands down either side of the foot. Let's step back into our plank. We're going to take a round of breath here. And bringing the knees to the floor and then the feet. Chest down, keeping those elbows in and roll forward into a baby cobra, keeping your gaze on the mat in front of you. And pushing up. Let's come through tabletop up to our downward dog. And as you're just warming up, keep those knees bent, pedal those feet. And we're going to make our way to get our right leg up between our hands. So you can do this one of two ways. You can come down onto all fours and lift your right foot up. Or if you want something a little bit more challenging, you can raise the right leg up behind you and step it through. Dropping the back knee. Coming up. Raising up with the gaze and the arms. Hands down either side of the foot, stepping that back foot up to meet the front. And let's come all the way up. And hands down into prayer. And bringing them around wide, up tall. Let's come into our forward fold. And halfway lift. And forward fold. This time we're putting the left leg back, dropping the knee. And rising up with the body and the arms. Hands down either side of the foot, stepping back into our plank. Keeping that micro bend in the elbow and bringing the knees to the floor, then the feet, chest, rolling through into your cobra. Pushing up onto all fours, adjust as much as you need to come up into your downward dog. Raising that left leg up or bringing the knee down and stepping it through to bring it to the front. Dropping that right knee down, open out the foot and rising up. Hands down either side of the foot, step that back foot forward and let's open the arms out to come all the way up and hands down into prayer. Let's take that one more time on each side. So open the arms out to reach up and forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold, stepping that right leg back as far as it can go. Open out the foot and rising up. Hands down either side of the foot, stepping back into your plank. And bringing down the knees, feet, chest, rolling through into a cobra. And pushing up into your tabletop and on up into your dog. Raising that right leg up, let's step it through. Dropping that back knee and rising up. Hands down either side of the foot, stepping up. Let's come all the way up. And bringing the arms out and up. Forward fold. And halfway lift. Forward fold, stepping the left leg back, dropping the knee and coming all the way up. Hands down either side of the foot, stepping back into your plank. And bringing the knees to the floor, then the feet, chest, rolling through into a cobra, keeping the gaze on the mat, pushing up into your tabletop and all the way back into your dog. Raising that left leg up, looking between your hands and step it through. Dropping the back knee, open out the foot and raise the arms up. Hands down either side of the foot, step that back foot forward and let's raise the arms up and come all the way through to prayer. And from here, opening those arms out once more into your forward fold. Halfway lift. Forward fold. Step that right leg back, dropping the right knee. open out the right foot. We're going to do something different here. So raising the body up, we're going to take it into a twist. So you're bringing your right hand out in front, your left hand out behind, and you're turning towards the left. Let's keep it here for 3 breaths. Remembering to keep that core engaged as you exhale, and then bringing the hands down either side of the foot. We're stepping back here into a plank. From here, you can either come down onto your knees, or if you like, you can come onto your forearms to make it a little bit more challenging. And then dropping the knees onto the floor, open out the feet, allow the belly to come down. So we're in not quite a cobra, what's called a sphinx. So we have the elbow directly under the shoulder, and we're doing a little mini back bend. And now we're going to just lift the pelvis up off the floor and the belly, and then push it all the way back up into our downward dog. And from here, let's lift that right leg up, stretching it back, and step the right foot forward, dropping that back knee. Open out the foot, rising up. Bringing your left hand in front, right hand behind. We're going to turn to the right. And let's take 3 breaths here. And as you inhale, finding that length in the spine, and as you exhale, seeing can you get a little millimeter more in your twist. And coming back to center, bringing the arms, hands down either side of the foot, stepping back into your plank. And from here, either dropping your knees to the floor or coming down onto your forearms, still in your plank. And then drop the knees, open out the feet, allowing the belly to come to the floor and the sternum to come forward. So you're looking forward, your chest is moving forward, and then let's lift the belly and hips off the floor, and then move it back into our downward dog. And from here, let's lift that left leg up and step it forward. And this time, being a little bit different, we are going to rise up. And from here, we're going to bring our right hand forward and our left hand back, and turning our gaze to the left, we're going to just take a little back bend. Good. Let's hold this here for 3 breaths. Keeping that core engaged. And straightening up, raising the arms up. Let's bring the hands down, stepping back into our plank. And let's come down onto our forearms. And then bring the knees to the floor. And bring it into a gentle back bend. Good. And lifting the belly and the pelvis up off the floor, pushing back up into your dog. Let's take that right leg and stretch it all the way up. And step it forward to the front of the mat. Rising up, keeping that knee bent. Let's this time bring our left arm in front of us, our right hand behind us, and bring it over into a reverse warrior, but a twisted one. So we're turning our gaze to the right. One more breath here. And straightening up, raising both arms up. Let's bring the hands down. You know what's coming. Coming back into your plank. And coming down onto your forearms. Allowing the knees to come down, feet to open, belly to come to the floor, and sternum to press forward. And then raising up the belly and the pelvis. Let's move it back into a dog and come all the way up. And from here, let's raise that left leg up and step it forward. This time, keeping both of our heels in line with each other. And from here, let's come up. So we're in our warrior two pose with our legs, but with our hands, we're going to bring them into a prayer behind if you can, so that your chest is nice and open. Your whole body is nice and open. Let's take 3 breaths here. And one more. And then let's lean it forward. So we're getting a nice long stretch along the whole length side of our body. Taking 2 more breaths. And then let that left hand come onto the floor and raise the right hand up so it's straight in the air. We're going to hold it here for 2 more breaths. And now let that arm come up over your ears. You might find it easier to have your elbow on your knee for this to get that nice stretch. And turning around, bringing both hands down either side of the foot. Let's step back into that plank and coming down onto the forearms, allowing the body to come to the floor. Bringing the sternum forward. Beginning to raise the belly and the hips up off the floor, and then pushing back up into your dog. And I'm trying to remember which leg I had forward. Let's step the right leg up and step it forward. Yes, that's right. Phew. Keeping the right knee over the right ankle. We have our feet one heel directly behind the other. And that back foot is just turning inwards a little bit. And we're going to bring our hands into our reverse prayer. So our chest is nice and open. Let's take 3 breaths here. And one more breath. And let's take it down to the side. And then allowing that right hand to come to the floor, raising up that left hand. Really good. You're going to have a rest in a minute, I promise. And then bringing that left hand all the way to the front. If you prefer to bring your elbow onto the knee for this one to get that nice long stretch all down the side of your body. Do. One more breath. And bringing the hands down either side of the foot. Stepping back into your plank. Coming down onto your forearms. Bringing the knees to the floor, open out the feet even. And raising up the sternum. So it's looking forward with your eyes. And lifting the belly and the pelvis up off the floor. And push on up into your downward dog. Let's take 3 breaths here in our dog, really starting to push those hips back towards the back of the room, having that nice long spine. And bringing the knees onto the floor, open out the feet and come back into your child's pose. Taking 2 more breaths here. And let's come up onto all fours, curling those toes, pushing the hips back. Let's come up into our dog. And from here, reaching up with that right leg and step it forward. And let's come all the way up. So now we're almost like we're in our warrior one. Our feet are hip distance apart, widthwise. They're both more or less facing towards the front. We're up tall, and we're going to do a reverse triangle here. So we're trying to keep our hips fairly level as we reach forward. And bringing the left hand down onto the floor. And if you want, you can come up onto your fists here and raise the right hand up. If you're finding that very strong on that inside thigh, you can put your hand, your elbow onto your knee, if you find that a little bit easier. And you can begin to straighten that front knee just as much as is comfortable. And we're going to take 3 more breaths here. Remembering to engage that core on the exhale. And then bending that front knee, we're going to step forward with the left foot and bringing both feet together. So your toes are together, your heels are just a little bit apart. We're sitting into our chair, and let's keep that left hand on the ground and raise up that right hand. Good. And 1 more breath here. And let's come on down into a squat. You can bring your feet a little bit apart for this. If you can't come down onto the ground with your feet flat, that's not a problem. Come up onto your toes, there's no problem. Whatever works for you. And from here, we're just going to turn and look towards the right. And bringing the hands back together. Let's heel toe those feet together and come up onto the toes. And let's take that twist again with the spine a little straighter. If you can bring your hands into prayer, do. If you're as wobbly as me, try and hold it. And hands down onto the mat. Let's just walk the feet back and come into our dog. Pushing those hips back nice and far. Trying to reach the heels towards the floor if you can, but keeping the spine nice and long. And looking to the front, we're going to step that left leg forward. And keeping those feet hip distance apart. Keep the front leg bent for now as we rise up. Think about squaring up those hips before we come into our triangle on this side. So we're allowing this right hand to come down onto the floor, the left hand to rise up. You can be up on your fists if that suits you better, or indeed, if you had anything you could put your hand on to help you. That's whatever works for you is good for me. And if you want a little bit more, you can begin to straighten that front leg and really begin to feel that stretch in the hamstring. One more breath. Bringing that upper hand down. Let's step the back foot forward so your toes are together. Your heels are a little bit apart. Still keeping that right hand down. Let's raise the left hand up. And one more breath here. Bringing that hand down. Heel toe those feet out, having the toes pointing out a little bit. Sinking down into your squat, and let's just take the twist to the left. And one more breath. Straightening up as you heel toe together, coming up onto your toes this time. Taking the twist, bringing the hands into prayer, trying to keep the balance. One more breath. And straightening up, bringing the hands down. Let's step back up into our dog. Resting here for a minute. And let's bend the knees and come onto the floor and just take ourselves into a staff pose, a seat, with our feet out in front of us. Toes pointing up towards the ceiling, sitting up nice and tall, shoulders over your hips, feeling your seat bones underneath you, equal weight in both seat bones. Keep that core engaged as you exhale. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And one last breath. And then reaching your right hand towards your left toe. Bend your knee as much as you need to here. We're going to raise this left leg up. And then we're going to lift up the left hand and allow it to come out behind us. So we're in a nice open twist. Keeping that foot on the ground flexed. One more breath here. And bringing that arm back around. Allow the foot to come to the floor as we move it over to the other side. So left hand holding on to the right foot. Bending that knee as much as you need to. Open out the right arm. Good, and let's take 2 more breaths here. And bringing it back. Let's bend both of the feet. No, we won't bend the feet, let's bend both of the knees. Keeping the feet on the floor. Let's take the right elbow and put it onto the left leg. And bringing those hands into prayer. Let's take a little twist here. Remembering as you inhale, finding that length in the spine, and as you exhale, looking for that millimeter more in the twist. And one more breath. And let's come back to straightness and take it to the other side. So left elbow onto the right leg. One more breath. And coming back to the center, just hug your shins, bringing your head between your knees. Listening to your breath. And let's just unfurl here and move forward onto our knees. Just, if you can, coming up onto your toes, sitting back onto your heels, having a nice straight back from your hips to your shoulders, heart over hips, head over heart, hips over heels, all the H's. And from here, just coming down onto all fours, opening those legs up into hip distance apart. Open those fingers out nice and wide, almost clawing into the floor with your fingertips. Looking behind you, not able to see your feet as they're straight behind the knees. And from here, let's raise that left hand all the way up. Follow the hand with your gaze, and then let's thread it through all the way down to bring your shoulder onto the floor. And once again, raising it all the way up and threading it through. And one more time, raising the arm up and threading it through. And coming back up onto all fours, let's take that to the other side. So raising that right arm up and threading it all the way through. And once again, raising the right arm up and threading it through. And for a final time, raising it all the way up and bringing it all the way through. And coming back onto all fours, let's just make our way down onto the floor. And as we're lying here, let's just allow our legs to come straight up. Let's just let them hang here for a little while, keeping those feet flexed so the soles of your feet are facing the ceiling. Engaging that core as you exhale. And one more breath here. And bend the knees, bringing the feet onto the floor and allowing the knees to fall over to the left. Opening your arms out and turning your gaze to the right. And bringing the feet back onto the floor and allowing the knees to come over to the right, turning that gaze to the left. And then coming back through center, allowing the legs to come out straight, the arms down by your sides, palms facing upwards. Grab a blankie if you want to. And let's just allow our body to absorb all of that work it's just done. Allowing it to totally rest and relax. Giving it a chance to recover from that stretching and movement. And let's just begin to let go. Giving yourself permission to let go your toes, the soles of your feet, the tops of your feet, your ankles, shins, calves, knees, back and front, thighs, front and back, glutes, pelvic area and hips, belly, rib cage, front and back, chest, shoulder blades, the whole of your body. Just let it go. Letting go your fingers, the palms of your hands, the backs of your hands, your wrists, forearms, elbows, upper arms, the whole of your arms. Just let it go. letting go the back of your head, the crown of your head, your forehead, eyebrows, eyes, cheeks, jaws, chin, lips and tongue. The whole of your body, just let it go. Allowing it to melt into the floor as the earth holds you. Tuning into that breath, just listening to it breathe you. As you gently inhale and exhale. And remembering all we have to be grateful for. Our bodies, ourselves, all of us for practicing together. All of the frontline staff, healthcare workers, and everything that we have to be grateful for today. And staying connected with that breath. Let's just take some time to totally relax and drift. Stay here as long as you like. I hope I see you on Wednesday for our next practice. Namaste.